Hello, and welcome to another episode of New Gameplay. Today, I'm your host, Jeff Cork, joined today by Suriel Vasquez.
I am going to try to talk as fast as possible just to keep pace up with you.
All right, you got it, baby. That's the only thing I can say fast, actually. So, Leo Vader.
Hi, you're already skipping intros, Suriel. Already skipping the character intros.
Skipping the character intros
there was some capture stuff, but I was in a bit of a hurry when I was recording this. But this is Mortal Kombat 11.
All right.
The new one.
This is a game that people who like Mortal Kombat are excited about.
That's right, Cork.
Very good.
Earlier, you were telling me that you include yourself among those people.
I am aware of its impending release.
That's what I meant by fan, yeah.
Yeah, a fan, if you will.
So, as you can see, here's, Michigan Scorpion, Michigan Zone Scorpion versus Sub-Zero.
Yes.
Who's in white. And we are doing one of the new Towers of Time, which is sort of their take on the combat towers from last game.
Right.
So this was pre-recorded at a event you went to.
That's right, where they unveiled basically a lot of the gameplay, some of the characters, and sort of talked about sort of their overall philosophy behind the game. So
we're gonna make the heads explode.
That's right.
We're gonna make the organs come out.
Yeah. So the biggest changes, I think, for most people will be if you look at the top of the screen there where it says Fatal Blow. So they kind of did away with their...
This is me playing, by the way.
Yeah. That was me trying to do a fatality, but I wasn't in the right range.
The classic furtive back and forth, grabbing at nothing.
Will I, at some point, do a fatality? That'll be the tease for this video.
Very cool.
I'm using it.
You were talking about Fatal Blows a moment ago.
Yeah, so Fatal Blows are basically the new supers, and they're sort of like Tekken 7 in that you can only activate them when you're low on health. There's no meter to build up.
Okay.
But speaking more to what's going on the screen now, you can see I'm selecting these little modifiers, which they were generous enough to give us an infinite supply of for this build.
Right.
And so what those do is those grant you special abilities during the tower matches.
Are those things that you would unlock naturally through gameplay, through microtransactions, or a combination of both?
It'll probably be like every time you get one of these. So that's every fight has a special modifier, and that's sort of the one for this fight is randomly she'll use that ability to pop me into a bubble. And I'll cry like a little baby.
It's like an in-game, like a babality just in the middle of the match, which is very exciting.
But I have stuff that's similar to that. So I have a thing that basically gives me armor, which means I don't take I take damage, but I don't sort of react to anything. So I can still basically break through stuff. But yeah, they've changed a lot of stuff in this game. So like the Mortal Kombat X had the stamina bar that sort of let you run around, instead of just dashing. So they got rid of that. Basically, because they want to slow the game down a little bit, sort of focus on shorter combos, more time like in the neutral, which is sort of where both players are sort of jockeying for position before either lands a hit. They want those exchanges to happen more often.
Okay.
But there are still combos. It's just they're not as easy to sort of string together different components to make something super long. Instead of the 1 meter that sort of governed everything, you have 2 meters, as you can see there. You have the offensive and defensive meter. The offensive meter is sort of the EX meter that you might be familiar with if you play other fighting games, where you can use it to enhance moves, and that's usually how you get your combos there. So, for example, the teleport I did there, I enhanced it, or I amplified it. Wait, hold on. I got to pause to make sure that I know what the fatality works. Yeah. I mean, they're already,
It's toward down square. Come on, you dingus.
Come on.
Will this be the one? Is this the one?
Oh, leave us wanting more.
Yeah. I got to tease it,
Yeah.
But yeah, so the offensive meter, it lets you enhance moves. Some moves can be enhanced up to twice. And then the defensive meter lets you sort of, if you're knocked down, you can roll to the other side or roll backwards to sort of get away from your opponent. There are interactables on the stage again, and using one of those takes 1 bar of the defensive meter. Some options take up both. So there's a lot more sort of options, and they kind of gave everything its own meter more or less, so that you're always using different options. So instead of like, hey, I have an EX meter, or I have the ability to use an interactable, but I want to save up for super. That's not really the case. You're sort of trying to use all your options whenever you can.
Yeah.
The other important thing is that they're always filling up, as you can see there. Which means that most of the time you're going to have the ability to extend combos that way or use the options available to you, but they are limited, which is an interesting balance between, we want to give you the ability to use your like best moves all the time.
Yeah.
But we don't want you to use them every time. And then the other sort of big thing is the customization. So in Mortal Kombat X, you have the ability to choose between 3 variations. And so you see that move where I sort of whip it around. That's a move that I have to equip, and that sacrifices another move.
Right.
You can also change sort of the properties of other moves. So, for example, his spear by default now sort of has him follow up with a sword slash, but you can't combo off of that.
Okay.
Here's one of the fatal blows, which really with every entry they kind of go overboard to a point where it's like, at that point he shouldn't be getting up from that. Like, he should be done. But so you can extend your
Second
combos.
wind here.
So is that good and cool? What we just saw? I'm like on the fence
I think
about this.
that's sort of the thing.
Yeah,
I've
we're
always-
talking a lot about the components of this fighting game, and I'm just trying to hear about the gross out factor.
Yeah, the fatalities are back.
They're back.
They're cool, but
They are cool.
they never left.
Okay.
Sorry, no, I wanted to clarify that real quick.
They're back from Mortal Kombat 10.
Yeah, from the previous game. I think I've kind of like soured on them a little bit just because you see them a couple times and like then you're done. Like you don't necessarily need to see them every match, and so online that's what everyone wants to do is they want to finish you off with a fatality. But I don't know. Like I think that's what people come to Mortal Kombat for. I think a lot of people sort of like that stuff.
Do they like it for the gore's cool factor or for the humiliation of busting out a fatality? on
Probably a little of both, I think. Speaking of which,
somebody? Uh-oh. How did you not go through his spine?
yeah, that's. I mean,
You're a surgeon.
yeah, I'm surgical about that.
All right.
So there's some aesthetic stuff as well. So like that specific version of the spear, the scorpion.
You're calling
shape.
out that spear. So this version of the spear, you can see the detailing here. Pay no attention to the jaw here.
Yeah. So you can customize that. You can customize the look. There's a lot of like different colors and options and stuff.
Okay.
So and that stuff is divorced completely from each other. So in Injustice, you had sort of specific pieces of gear that you had to find or like get somehow that gave you a special move. So in this one, you just sort of equip the moves and then you equip the stuff separately. So there's not like sort of the idea of, well, I need to randomly grind for this stuff.
Right.
So I think that's a lot better. It lets you build sort of your own character the way you want them, sort of emphasize different strengths or
So what did you
options.
think of the setup of Scorpion that you're playing with there? Is this something that you would like to further tweak?
Yeah. So
what did you like and dislike about it?
So the thing that I tweaked was I changed the Scorpion Spear. There's a way you can get it to combo by using meter. And so I like that because that's how it worked in Mortal Kombat 10. And I do like the being able to twirl the spear. I think that's a pretty cool move.
Yeah.
But I'd have to obviously mess around with sort of different builds. And I like that you can have a build of the character.
Yeah.
Versus like here's my Scorpion. This is the one that I've made versus someone else's.
Yeah.
It's gonna be hard to see how that integrates into the competitive scene, just because they like to have like here are some options, but we don't want to get too crazy with like character specific stuff. The other thing is that there are these things called crushing blows.
Is it spelled with a K, please?
Oh,
Please be
absolutely.
spelled with a K.
You know it.
Nice. Why isn't Scorpion spelled with a K?
That's a great question.
Yeah, I think he was grandfathered in early on before they went overboard with all the Ks.
Yeah, it's a bit much.
He used up one of the few Cs they had in their alphabet.
Right.
So the crushing blows are these specific. So some moves have a crushing blow property,
Okay.
and so what that does is that depending on certain conditions, which some of them is just if you counter hit with which is basically you cancel an opponent's attack with it, or if you sort of land a certain amount of moves, that move a certain number of times. Yeah, that one I just.
That
Was that a
quick
fatality?
That was
He's
Johnny
dead.
Cage callback.
Yeah. So you'll do like a version of that move that deals a ton more damage, and in certain cases lets you keep comboing. So that stuff is pretty cool. Like it's just having this sort of long-term game plan of I want to land this move 4 times so I can get the crushing version of it that is super powerful.
Cool.
All right, so here's some of the customization stuff. As you can see, you can equip different masks on him. And again, these are all cosmetic. They don't necessarily modify your moves, but you can equip these little modifiers to the cosmetic themselves.
Okay.
And so this is mostly for I think player matches and some of the tower stuff, but in ranked I don't think these will work. I think they're sort of doing the injustice thing of keeping everything sort of level for ranked.
So the cosmetics hold the slots for the augmentations.
Right.
Makes sense.
Thank you.
But in terms of like, hey, if you want that sword versus that sword, not a huge deal, I think.
How much time do you see yourself spending on how Scorpion looks, Suriel?
Probably a little bit.
Nice.
It's how this is spoiler.
Whoa.
This is a prequel to that earlier video in that I changed him into the version you saw earlier.
Oh, okay. Nice.
So yeah, as you can see, like that's a scorpion spear because he likes to
It's a bit
leave his
redundant.
trademark.
Yeah, he fancies himself a Batman.
Yeah.
I really liked Injustice 2's gear system. Does this seem on the level with that?
Yeah, I think they're going to tone down the amount of gear you get because I think there was a lot of repeat gear.
That's true.
And it's not going to be like, as you can see, I'm changing up his entire look per selection. It's not like, hey, I have the belt of whatever and then his head. Like the number of things you can customize is, I think, a little smaller overall. But I think because the move stuff is sort of their focus this time of like building your own character. And they also have a lot of other stuff. You can customize which fatalities you have, sort of your between round quotes, and I think your intros. I think that cosmetic stuff also is adjustable. But here's sort of the main stuff. Here's here's a fireball, I think it is, and then you have the demon breath. You have different dashes. That's the one that I had equipped earlier, where he twirls it.
Yeah.
And there's a certain move. I think some moves rely on other ones. So I think that spear combo requires you to have the death spin equipped. So there are certain sets, I think, of moves that go together, which is I think bodes well because the thing I like most about X was the way that the different variations, because there was only 3 in X, they felt like sort of bespoke decks of, okay, I'm playing Scorpion, but the Hellfire one is based around summoning demons that sort of come in on different sides of the screen, basically like an assist. The ninjutsu one doesn't give him any bonus special moves, but it gives some of his regular attacks extra reach because he uses his swords. So it all felt themed in a way that let you sort of tailor your play style cohesively.
Okay.
Whereas I think there's some risk of, I think, turning into a mix and match game of like, I don't know, it's just a different collection of moves I put together that are cool. But having sort of some moves require others, I think, is a good way of saying like, no, we want you to sort of like tailor sort of how you modify the character to a play style.
Okay.
Which I think is cool.
Yeah.
What's going on in that AI behavior tab?
So if you remember, Injustice 2 had this sort of thing where you can send basically AI opponent, or you can have it set it so that then an AI does the fighting for you in the multiverse.
That's right. I did that on my PlayStation Vita while playing other games.
That's right. That was the Vita Game of the Year 2017.
Remote playing Injustice 2.
That's right. And you can do that here to do some of the combat tower stuff. And I think if they're building off sort of their infrastructure, I'm sure there will be stuff like clans, which will have some amount of bonuses. I can't imagine they don't do loot boxes in some way with the amount of customization stuff here, especially like different animations, your Overwatch sort of level of customization.
Yeah.
Some of the characters I think are pretty cool. They introduced a new character called Garris, who's like, if you remember Zazelmel from Soul Calibur, he's a little similar to that. He has some time manipulating things. Like one of his like weirdest moves is that he just removes or adds time to the clock.
Oh, that's very strange.
Yeah. So he's like this grappler character with some keep away. So if he's like, okay, I'm super ahead, I'm gonna like take off X amount of seconds off the clock, so I have an incentive to just like keep away and win the round.
That's badass.
That is the most interesting thing I've
love
heard
it.
about this game. For sure. That's super cool.
Yeah.
And they're bringing back other characters like Baraka's back, but he has like this new banner, like this flag that he can plant on the ground, and that'll power up his attacks if he's near it, or he can just grab it like an interactable and impale someone with it.
Okay.
And then Scarlet they brought back, which I really like her new look, because like before it was just like, here's the red ninja and she's basically in a bikini, but like now she's got like I think she's got goggles, She's got like a sort of like a Lawrence of Arabia thing going on. She has a bunch of new moves. Yeah, that's right. Famous blood-powered person because all of her abilities are blood-based. Like she fires, a blood ball. And then she has like this new blood scythe that she uses. She's really cool. She was like, besides Scorpion, she was probably my favorite character I played as.
Yeah.
And her fatality is she gets like blood inside of you and then makes your heart blow up from the inside. So that's cool.
Yeah.
That's sick AF, as the kids say. Yeah. So this is me just kind of testing out sort of the Scorpion that I built.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mortal Kombat 11. I haven't spent enough time with it to see how all the changes sort of changed the game. There's some things I'm not entirely sure about. The meter stuff is kind of weird. It's just a lot of it is, this is just really weird and different from Mortal Kombat X. Yeah. So I'm just excited I'm excited that they're sort of changing this much of the game.
Cool.
I like that it's not just like, we've updated the game engine and all the characters look nice, but this is more or less the same game. It's not like it doesn't feel like a reskin.
Excellent.
So this is out in April. So that's pretty soon.
This year?
That's right.
Cool.
So,
are you going to do a fatality right now?
Oh, probably not.
Oh,
good.
Let's still watch you not do it, though.
Yeah. This is me just figuring out what this new character does.
Okay, here we go. Get ready for it, folks.
All right.
You asked for it. Yes.
Yeah.
In a way that's like a fatality.
Yeah.
Thanks, Suriel.
Yeah.
You really did it.
Thank you, Cork.
Thanks, Leo.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching, everybody.
Over here.
Get over here.
Over here.